Latanya from Joy in the Ordinary, and today I wanted to share with you guys about homeschooling and working. This video is geared towards those who want to homeschool and they also want or need to work. So I've been a homeschool mom since 2009, and since starting on this journey, I pretty much always have had some form of income. Some years it's more than others. And so with that being said, I know that there are challenges with being a full-time homeschooling mom and someone who is receiving income for work. I don't know why I couldn't get that out, but someone who is receiving income for work. So I want to share with you 6 things to consider if you are wanting to do both. Now, maybe you are already a homeschool mom and you want to add work into your life. Or maybe you are a working mom and you're deciding to bring your children home. I'm going to just speak to working and homeschooling. So it could work for either scenario. First thing I would like to say is homeschooling is a full-time job. Sometimes we don't want to admit that, and for some of us it's pretty easy to admit, like, oh my goodness, it takes so much to homeschool. And then some of us will say, like, well, you know, it's not that bad because maybe it's a natural gift or something, so it doesn't feel as overwhelming. I'm here to tell you, regardless, it is a full-time job. It can easily take over your life. One, because it's a lifestyle. When you choose to homeschool, you're choosing to change the way that you live and do life with your family. And with that being said, it's going to take a great chunk of time. You know, when we choose to be at home with our children all day, unless they are in some program where they are gone a few times a week for several hours, chances are you are with your children all of the school hours and all of the prime working hours for those that work outside the home, you know, 9 to 5 or whatever. You are with your children during that time. So you have to know that you will have to be creative as far as finding jobs to fit the lifestyle you've already chosen. And if you're homeschooling or if you're planning to homeschool, you have chosen a lifestyle of homeschooling. Okay, so after we let that sink in that, you know, homeschooling is a full-time job and that it's going to take something out of us as far as time and effort, then we could consider what are our strengths, what is our skill set? Because if homeschooling isn't something natural to you and you have to put in effort, you don't want to choose a job that's so against the grain of who you are that you're going to have to put in even more effort to get that job done, whatever it is. So consider your skill set. Do you love teaching already? Are you a natural teacher? That's what you did as a career, or maybe you worked in a daycare or you tutored for one of the school districts or something. If teaching is your natural incline, then maybe you can find work that fits that part of you, because then it'll make it a little bit easier. So there are lots of jobs that you can do at home if you have certain skill sets, or if you have a college degree, or if you have work experience. So I know a few companies like Aetna, they hire nurses to work from home. I'm not a nurse, so I have never worked for Aetna, but I know that they hire nurses to work from home. There's the K-12 and the online schools who hire certified teachers. There's Pearson, who also hires certified teachers to score tests. Now, if you're a homeschooler, you're like, why is she telling us about all this public school or government schooling things? Well, just because you chose to homeschool doesn't mean that you have something totally against the public school sector. And if your family needs the income, maybe that would be a way for you to make the income doing something that you're already gifted in. So consider your skill set. And what about if you don't want to work for an entity already or a corporation? Maybe you just want to work for yourself. Consider your skill set. What is it that you're good at? Are you good at writing? Do you have examples of your writing? If you do, then maybe consider freelance writing. So there are a lot of different ways that you can make an income, but you have to consider what you're good at and what you're up to doing. Because if you choose something that's totally out of your skill set and you're already doing this one thing that's going to take a lot of time and energy, you don't want two things that are going to be pulling you apart. So consider your skill set. Number 3, back to the children. Be realistic about your children. Not who you think, or not what you want your children to be, but who they are right now. If someone calls you and say you're hired, who are the children that you live with today? Do you have children that will allow you to go off into your room to do whatever task you need to do to earn the income that you need to earn? If you do not have children that are independent, if you have babies or little children, then take that into consideration. Don't feel bad that you can't do the job that this veteran homeschool mom is doing because her kids are 14 and 15 years old. If you have 2 and 3-year-olds, then your life will look totally different from someone who has a teenager. So take into account what your kids need from you right now, today. If you were asked to work on a project, a freelance project, not even from a corporation, maybe it's a freelance project with I don't know the word I was about to use, but like not so rigid, like you have a little time to get it done. Is it realistic that you will be able to meet the needs of the project with the children that you have today? You know, or if you find a job that is online and they need your house to be quiet. Is your house really quiet today, or is that something you're going to have to teach your children? You know, and if that's the case, then maybe work on getting that part of your home in order before adding in an additional stress. I think I skipped one, so I'm going to go back to this one. Take in account what you are working for. You know, is there a goal that you're trying to reach? Do you need the income to pay your monthly bills, or do you need the income because, you know, you want to get your child braces, or, you know, your son loves soccer and it's just not in the budget, but you know that he's gifted in that area and you want him to be able to do it? So what are you working for? When you know what you're working for, then it'll be easier for you to decide how much work you're willing to put out. So if you only need $500, applying for full-time positions that want you to work 40 hours or 32 hours at the least may not be the best idea. And this could be seen as very limiting. Like, why would I limit my income so much? If I'm going to work, then I might as well work and make the $50,000 or $60,000. But that goes back to the original thing that homeschooling is a full-time job. So picking up 2 full-time jobs, I know myself, and if I'm honest with myself, I can't do everything well. So either I'm a really good employee or small business owner, or I'm a really good homeschooling mom. And that's just the truth for me. Now that might be something totally different for other people. You know, maybe you can handle 2 full-time positions and it's not going to be detrimental to the company who hired and trusted you, or to the children that you said you were going to dedicate time to teach. So that part would be totally up to you. But for me, I know that I put homeschooling higher. Therefore, how much I work is minimum, for this particular season in life. So I have to think about what I am working for. And so when I think about what I'm working for, then I work to achieve the goals for those, achieve the income for those goals. And it's freeing because then I'm not stressing out about if I have, if I'm making enough, because I know what my enough is. Then I will also suggest considering having a support system. Now, homeschooling can be lonely. You may be the only person in your family who homeschools, and that's fine. But just because you're the only person in your family that homeschools doesn't mean that you have to go at it alone. Consider who in your family is willing to support you and your children and your husband to reach the goals that you're trying to reach. Who's willing to say, I understand that you guys need extra income, and I admire that you're at home with your kids, so I'm willing to watch your children for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever each week so that you can get out and be able to take care of them. So consider who in your family, friends, church family, community, who do you trust and who is willing to support you as you venture out to make an additional income for your family. Can you get a babysitter? So if there's nobody around, then you might have to go back and say, well, I am working for $500 for my family, but I know that I'm going to have to pay a babysitter each time I go to work in case if you have to leave out of the house or if you want someone to entertain or watch over your kids while you're working in the house, like to keep them, a little bit quieter or what have you. Then if you have to pay someone, it goes with the $500 plus however much you have to pay that person. So then that becomes your income goal. And be flexible. So that's my last suggestion, is be flexible yet diligent. So if homeschooling is new to you, understand that it is a change of life. You can't just keep doing all the things that you used to do. You have to stop a little bit. I know that might sound uncomfortable, but you have to stop just a little bit so that you can get your footing, so you can see what works for your children, see what works for you. Do you like online schooling? Do you like box curriculum? Do you want to be able to make some of the curriculum yourself? You have to give yourself time to figure out your homeschool style. And if you already homeschool, then you have to figure out what type of job would really fit into my life right now. For me, I've had a variety of jobs, and I wrote a blog post too. And the blog post isn't word for word what I'm seeing on this video. So there'll be some things in the video that's not in the blog post, and there'll be some things in the blog post that's not in the video. But I will say that because I've pretty much always worked since 2009, since starting our homeschool journey, I've done a variety of jobs. And I'm just going to name a few of them and let you know how it worked in our lives. So in 2009, when we started, I worked part-time at a gym. And this also goes with being flexible. I worked at a gym for basically minimum wage. And I have a college degree, but I said, I just need a little extra money. And it's okay. It's okay that I'm being paid minimum wage because it was giving us what we needed at that time. And I wasn't the only person that worked at the gym part-time who was a certified teacher, who had the credentials to go out and get a full-time teaching job. There were actually 3 teachers who worked part-time at the gym because it gave us what we need plus a free gym membership. So you have to take into account what you need at each season in your life. Not only did I do the gym, but I also worked at Pearson. I worked at Pearson as a scorer. Now, testing has changed a lot since 2009, 2010, when I first started working at Pearson. And as the changes happened, like what they expected from the students and all of that, it was just a little bit too much, on top of having to sit in the computer and read the students' handwritings. It just wasn't working for me any longer, because it's kind of hard reading thousands of pieces of writings each day. It was just kind of hard for me. But during that season, it was something that I could do at home. My kids didn't have to be quiet. They could play, and I could score the test and earn a decent income. And that paid more than the gym, because for that particular job, you needed your college degree. So that goes back to your skill set. What do you have to offer, and how can you use what you have to offer in different job settings? Other things I've done. So I've worked outside the home at the gym. I did scoring inside the home. Then I worked outside the home again as a reference librarian. Again, that particular job, you needed a college degree. It didn't have to be in library sciences, but you needed some type of degree, and you needed to be comfortable with interacting with people, so having some customer service skills. That job, I worked in the evenings, and I couldn't take my kids with me. Now, at the gym, I could take my daughters with me to work. So it worked for me because I didn't have to have a babysitter. I didn't make a whole lot of money, but the gym membership was worth it. And so for that season, that worked. But when several years down the line, when I went back to do something outside the home, I did need a babysitter, which is why I needed a support system. And my next door neighbor would keep the girls for about 30 minutes until my husband got home. And then on the weekends, because I also worked on Saturdays, most of the time my husband was off, but when he wasn't off, my friends chipped in and they kept the girls for me. So each season of motherhood, I had a different job. Now, for the past 2 years, I have decided that I didn't want any more W-2s, because all these W-2s coming in from everywhere was just a little bit too much when it came time to sit down and do taxes. So I decided, I will focus on the things that I could do at home, freelancing. So that includes writing for other places. It includes sponsored posts on my blog. Recently, I added out-school courses. I haven't taught my first one yet, but this year I've added out-school courses to my ways to earn. I sell on Teacher Pay Teacher, and I also have I have my jewelry store. I was like, it's something pretty major too. I have my jewelry store. So those are, I just named like 5 different ways that I earn income. Now, some people might say like, well, that just sounds like a little too much. But for me, piecing together the income I need was easier than going to an outside employer, because we're in a new place now, and I only have so many friends, and I really want to hone in and spend time with my daughters as much as possible. Therefore, I'm limited to the things within the home that I can do with the skills that I already have. And I also forgot to add that a few times a month, I will drive for Amazon, because it's simple, just pick up the packages, go deliver them, and there you go. 4 hours of work, and it pays a decent amount of money. So, and on those days, although we're new here, I only do it a few times a month, I do have a friend who keeps the girls during that time, and they do their schoolwork. So if you are considering working from home while homeschooling, I said all this to say that it is possible. It's only about what you're willing to give up and what you're willing to do to earn the income that you desire. As you can see, I'm willing to do quite a few things. And my girls are older, so it's not so big of a deal. And some of those things, like teacher pay teacher, I'm not doing, all I'm doing is uploading the study guides that I've made to use with my own children, and I'm giving other people the opportunity to purchase them. So it's no additional work for me, So once it's up, I don't have to do anything else. So I hope that this video has been helpful. I did not plan for it to be this long, but I guess it needed to be so that I could get it all out. If you have more questions about homeschooling and working, feel free to write a comment below. Go over to the blog, jointheordinary.com. I'm always over there. I write more often than I make videos. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and be blessed.